Good morning. I'm going to read some prayers regarding tests and difficulties. O thou whose tests are a healing medicine to such as are nigh unto thee, whose sword is the ardent desire of all them that love thee, whose dart is the dearest wish of those hearts that yearn after thee, whose decree is the sole hope of them that have recognized thy truth. I implore thee by thy divine sweetness, and by the splendors of the glory of thy face, to send down upon us from thy retreats on high that which will enable us to draw nigh unto thee. Set then our feet firm, O my God, in thy cause, and enlighten our hearts with the effulgence of thy knowledge, and illumine our breasts with the brightness of thy names. Bahá'u'lláh. Here's another one. By Bahá'u'lláh. Dispel my grief by thy bounty and thy generosity, O God, my God, and banish mine anguish through thy sovereignty and thy might. Thou seest me, O my God, with my face set towards thee, at a time when sorrows have compassed me on every side. I implore thee, O thou who art the Lord of all being, and overshadowest all things visible and invisible, by thy name, whereby thou hast subdued the hearts and the souls of men, and by the billows of the ocean of thy mercy, and the splendors of the day star of thy bounty, to number me with them whom nothing whatsoever hath deterred from setting their faces toward thee, O thou Lord of all names, and maker of the heavens. Thou beholdest, O my Lord, the things which have befallen me in thy days. I entreat thee by him who is the dayspring of thy names, and the dawning place of thine attributes, to ordain for me what will enable me to arise to serve thee, and to extol thy virtues. Thou art verily the Almighty, the most powerful, who art wont to answer the prayers of all men. And finally, I beg of thee by the light of thy countenance to bless my affairs, and redeem my debts and satisfy my needs. Thou art he to whose power and to whose dominion every tongue hath testified, and whose majesty and whose sovereignty every understanding heart hath acknowledged. No God is there but thee who hearest and art ready to answer. I'm going to sing this prayer by the Bab that I set to music. I adjure thee by thy might, O my God. I adjure thee by thy might, I adjure thee by thy might. Let no harm beset me in times of test, and in moments of heedlessness. Guide my steps aright through thine inspiration. I adjure thee by thy might, O my God. I adjure thee by thy might, I adjure thee by thy might. Let no harm beset me in times of test, and in moments of heedlessness. Guide my steps aright through thine inspiration. Thou art God, potent art thou to do what thou desirest. Thou art God, no one can withstand thy will or thwart thy purpose. I adjure thee by thy might, O my God. I adjure thee by thy might, I adjure thee by thy might. Let no harm beset me in times of test, and in moments of heedlessness. Guide my steps aright through thine inspiration. Through thine inspiration, through thine inspiration, through thine inspiration. I'm going to say this prayer by Abdul Baha. He is the compassionate, the all-bountiful. O God, my God, Thou seest me, Thou knowest me. Thou art my haven and my refuge. None have I sought, nor any will I seek, save Thee. No path have I trodden, nor any will I tread, but the path of Thy love. In the darksome night of despair, my eye turneth expectant and full of hope to the morn of Thy boundless favor. And at the hour of dawn, my drooping soul is refreshed and strengthened in remembrance of Thy beauty and Thy perfection. He whom the grace of Thy mercy aideth, though he be but a drop, shall become the boundless ocean. And the merest atom, which the outpourings of Thy loving kindness assisteth, shall shine even as the radiant star. Shelter under Thy protection, O Thou Spirit of purity. Thou, the all-bountiful provider, this enthralled, enkindled spirit of Thine. Aid him in this world of being to remain steadfast and firm in Thy covenant and testament. And grant that this broken-winged bird attain a shelter in Thy divine nest that abideth upon the celestial tree. Well, thanks for asking to be invited. It's nice to have you join me this morning.
Nice to be here.
Is there anything you would like to say? Or did you
just like hearing your morning broadcast. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Well, I will continue with readings from the hidden words of Bahá'u'lláh. And if you have any comments or questions, it would be fun to field them.
Okay. Thanks.
Wow, that's hot. Oh, for my friends who are viewing, this is my nephew, Shoshone. He lives upstairs, and he's a regular. Here is number 56 in the Persian of Baha'u'llah's hidden words. O my son, the company of the ungodly increaseth sorrow, whilst fellowship with the righteous cleanseth the rust from off the heart. He that seeketh to commune with God, let him betake himself to the companionship of his loved ones. And he that desireth to hearken unto the word of God, let him give ear to the words of his chosen ones. Number 57. O son of dust, beware. Walk not with the ungodly, and seek not fellowship with him. For such companionship turneth the radiance of the heart into infernal fire. Number 58. O son of my handmaid, wouldst thou seek the grace of the Holy Spirit? Enter into fellowship with the righteous, for he hath drunk the cup of eternal life at the hands of the immortal cupbearer. And even as the true morn doth quicken and illumine the hearts of the dead. Number 59. O heedless ones, think not the secrets of hearts are hidden. Nay, know ye of a certainty that in clear characters they are engraved and are openly manifest in the holy presence. O friends, verily I say, whatsoever ye have concealed within your hearts is to us open and manifest as the day. But that it is hidden is of our grace and favor, and not of your deserving. O Son of Man, a dewdrop out of the fathomless ocean of my mercy I have shed upon the peoples of the world, yet found none turn thereunto, inasmuch as everyone hath turned away from the celestial wine of unity unto the foul dregs of impurity, and content with mortal cup hath put away the chalice of immortal beauty. Vile is that wherewith he is contented. Number 62, O son of dust, turn not away thine eyes from the matchless wine of the immortal beloved, and open them not to foul and mortal dregs. Take from the hands of the divine cupbearer the chalice of immortal life, that all wisdom may be thine, and that thou mayest hearken unto the mystic voice calling from the realm of the invisible. Cry aloud, ye that are of low aim, wherefore have ye turned away from my holy and immortal wine unto evanescent water? Whew. All right, now we're going to continue our reading of Baha'u'llah's letter to Nasir-ed-Din Shah, who was the ruler of Persia in the 1860s and who was responsible for Baha'u'llah's banishment to Baghdad, and also later on to Constantinople and to Adrianople. This letter was written when Baha'u'llah was in Adrianople. It's included in the tablet of the temple, or the Suri Haikal, and it's that tablet is the first in the compilation, The Summons of the Lord of Hosts, Tablets of Baha'u'llah. So he's speaking to, he's addressing Nasir-ed-Din Shah, and he refers to the son of Batha, and that's a reference to Muhammad. Remember the days in which the son of Batha shone forth above the horizon of the will of thy Lord, the exalted, the Most High. And recall how the divines of that age turned away from him, and the learned contended with him, that haply thou mayest apprehend that which in this day remaineth concealed behind the veils of glory. So grievous became his plight on every side that he instructed his companions to disperse. Thus was the decree made manifest from the heaven of divine glory. Remember, furthermore, how when one of these same companions came before the king of Ethiopia and recited unto him a surah of the Quran, he declared to his attendants, "This truly hath been revealed by one who is all-knowing and all-wise. Whoso acknowledges the truth and believeth in the teachings of Jesus can in no wise deny what hath been recited. We verily bear witness to its truth, even as we bear witness to the truth of that which we possess of the books of God, that help imperil the self-subsisting. I swear by God, O King, wert thou to incline thine ear to the melodies of that nightingale, which warbleth in manifold accents upon the mystic bough, as bidden by thy Lord the All-Merciful, thou wouldst cast away thy sovereignty, and set thy face towards this scene of transcendent glory, above whose horizon shineth the book of the dawntide, and wouldst expend all that thou possessest in thine eagerness to obtain the things of God. Then wouldst thou find thyself raised up to the summit of exaltation and glory, and elevated to the pinnacle of majesty and independence. Thus hath the decree been recorded in the mother book by the pen of the All-Merciful. Of what avail are the things which are yours today, and which tomorrow others shall possess? Choose for thyself that which God hath chosen for his elect, and God shall grant thee a mighty sovereignty in his kingdom. We beseech God to aid thy majesty, to hearken unto that word, whose radiance hath enveloped the whole world, and to protect thee from such as have strayed far from the court of his presence. So I think so far that's pretty explanatory. Baha'u'lláh is pleading with Nasruddin Shah to remember what happened with Muhammad, how he went to the king of Batha, the king of Ethiopia, and Muhammad sent a messenger to the king of Ethiopia, and the king of Ethiopia immediately recognized him. And he's saying, follow that example. He goes on. Glory be to thee, O Lord my God. How many the heads which were raised aloft on spears in thy path, and how many the breasts which were made the target of arrows for the sake of thy good pleasure. How many the hearts that have been lacerated for the exaltation of thy word and the promotion of thy cause, and how many the eyes that have wept sore for love of thee. I implore thee, O thou who art the King of kings and the pitier of the downtrodden, by thy most great name, which thou hast made the dawning place of thy most excellent names, and the dayspring of thy most exalted attributes. to remove the veils that have come in between thee and thy creatures, and debarred them from turning unto the horizon of thy revelation. Cause them then, O my God, by thy most exalted word, to turn from the left hand of oblivion and delusion unto the right hand of knowledge and certitude, that they may know what thou hast purposed for them through thy bounty and grace, and may set their faces towards him, who is the manifestation of thy cause and the revealer of thy signs. So in this paragraph, Baha'u'lláh is praying that God will remove the veils which have shut out human beings from recognizing this revelation. O my God, thou art the all-bountiful, whose grace is infinite. Withhold not thy servants from the most mighty ocean. So when he says ocean, he's talking about the ocean of revelation, and he's saying that God's revelation is continuing just as it has from age to age. And he's asking God to open the door for human beings to step into this additional knowledge which God has brought, which thou hast made the repository of the pearls of thy knowledge and thy wisdom, and turn them not away from thy gate, which thou hast opened wide before all who are in thy heaven and all who are on thine earth. O Lord, leave them not to themselves, for they understand not, and flee from that which is better for them than all that thou hast created upon thine earth. Cast upon them, O my God, the glances of the eye of thy favor and bounty, and deliver them from self and passion, that they may draw nigh unto thy most exalted horizon. Taste the sweetness of thy remembrance, and delight in that bread which thou hast sent down from the heaven of thy will and the firmament of thy grace. From everlasting thy bounty hath embraced the entire creation, and thy mercy hath surpassed all things. No God is there but thee, the ever-forgiving, the most compassionate. Glorified art thou, O Lord my God. Thou well knowest that mine heart hath melted in thy cause, and that my blood so boileth in my veins with the fire of thy love, that every drop of it proclaimeth with its inner tongue, grant that I may be spilt among the ground for thy sake, O my Lord the Most High, that from it there may spring forth that which thou hast purposed in thy tablets, and hast hidden from the eyes of all, except such servants as have tasted of the crystal stream of knowledge from the hands of thy grace, and quaffed the soft flowing waters of understanding from the cup of thy bestowal. Thou knowest, O my God, that in all mine affairs I have sought only to obey thy bidding, that in mine every utterance I have wished only to extol thy praise, and that in whatsoever hath proceeded from my pen I have purposed only to win thy good pleasure, and to reveal that which thou hast enjoined upon me through thy sovereignty. Thou beholdest me, O my God, as one bewildered in thy land. Whensoever I make mention of that which thou hast enjoined upon me, thy creatures cavil at me. Yet were I to neglect that which thou hast bidden me observe, I would deserve the scourge of thine anger, and would be far removed from the meadows of thy nearness. Nay, by thy glory, I have set my face towards thy good pleasure, and turned away from the things whereon thy servants have set their affections. I have embraced all that is with thee, and forsaken all that might lead me away from the retreats of thy nearness and the heights of thy glory. I swear by thy might, with thy love in my heart, nothing can ever alarm me, and in the path of thy good pleasure, all the world's afflictions can in no wise dismay me. All this, however, proceedeth from thy power and thy might, from thy bounty and thy grace, and is not of mine own deserving. Okay. Are there any questions or comments to be addressed? Okay, in that case, I'm just going to I'm going to pray that today God helps us to overcome our judgments, our bitterness, our resentments, our fears, and to open our hearts so that we can show forth love to everyone who crosses our path, and never think of whether or not they deserve it, but only that they are God's creatures and we are God's vessels. So I'll say Allahu Akbar to everyone.
Jackie.
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes.
Why are all true prophets scorned and abused by their own nations and families?
That's quite a great question. Well, I think there are a number of different reasons. One of the reasons is because of the leaders of religion. So many leaders of religion are in it for their own gain or their own prestige, their own power. And when a manifestation of God appears in the world, that person exemplifies true humility, true purity, and true knowledge. So the energy of that purity confronts the low aim or purpose of these rulers who want to hold on to their power and their ability to exploit for material gain. So those leaders not only turn away from the manifestation of God, but they turn their followers away. And that's the main reason. They incite governments so that they can hold on to their power. Because the manifestation of God confronts greed, confronts selfishness. And that's very threatening. The manifestation of God, because of each manifestation of God has great attractive power, and thousands flock to them. And that becomes a tremendous threat to leaders who are in life for their own gain. So that's the main reason.
Are all manifestations of God prophets, and are all prophets manifestations of God?
Well, there are two. Bahá'u'lláh explains that there are two categories of prophets. there are the prophets. All manifestations of God are prophets, in that all manifestations of God prophesy. They all tell the future. But not all prophets are manifestations. So there are the greater prophets or manifestations, such as Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, etc. The ones who founded religious systems that are followed by many, many, many people. Those are the manifestations of God, and they are all prophets. But then there are the lesser prophets. They're called the lesser prophets. And the lesser prophets are, for instance, Daniel and Isaiah and Ezekiel. Those are the lesser prophets. And the lesser prophets come under the protection, or they come under the revelation of the manifestation. So, for instance, Daniel, Isaiah, Ezekiel did not found their own religions. They were followers of Moses. And they do not have the same status. In other words, they're human beings like you and I, like you and me. They make mistakes. They're not, quote unquote, endued with constancy. The manifestations of God are perfect. They don't make mistakes. They have all knowledge. They have all goodness. Does that answer your question? Are you still with me?
Is it necessary for them to... Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Is it necessary for this to the political views?
You're breaking up. So I don't know what your question is.
God.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Would you like to come down here? Okay, I see you now. It's not dark anymore, but I don't hear you. I heard a noise. I hear a sound. Speak.
I typed my question.
Oh, you're typing your question? Okay, where am I going to see it?
You see it?
Let me see if I can see it. Is it necessary for the manifestations of God to appeal to political leaders? To appeal to political leaders. You mean, is it necessary for manifestations of God to reach out to political leaders? Is that your question? Yes, that's your question. Is it necessary for manifestations of God to reach out to political leaders? Well, in this day, yes, because in this day, Bahá'u'lláh came for the world. You see, Bahá'u'lláh was or is a world redeemer. So, in the past, the messengers of God have come to the villages, to the towns, to the city-states, and to the nations. But this is the first time in history that a messenger of God has come for the whole world. I shouldn't say it's the first time in history. It's called a universal manifestation, and I believe it has happened before, but I'm not clear on when. I think maybe Adam, who actually was a real person who really lived, not the metaphorical stories about the snake in the garden and all that, but there was a real manifestation of God named Adam, and he may have been a universal manifestation. So in this day, because Baha'u'llah's mission, you see, Baha'u'lláh is the fulfillment of the prophecies of all the religions: the return of Christ, the return of white buffalo calf woman, the fifth Buddha, the 12th Imam. All the prophecies talk about the coming of the one who will bring peace on earth. That's Baha'u'lláh. So he came for the whole world. So his laws are in order to bring peace to the entire planet. In his case, yes, it was important. It had to happen. As far as the other former manifestations of God, I can't answer that question. I don't know. I don't know what the, to my knowledge, Jesus did not appeal directly to Herod. If he did, I don't know about it. But I know that in this day, so the manifestation of God, his actions and his message are dependent on the conditions for the day in which he lives. Does that answer your question? Do you have any other questions or comments? I think that's a yes. Okay. But I don't see a question. I see a yes, but not a question.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I have for now.
Okay, well that's great. Thank you so much for joining me, for asking those questions, and congratulations on your beard. I'm just noticing it now. Thank you very much. Okay, I already said my prayers for everybody, so have a blessed day.